Good afternoon. Welcome to the third session of the Glen Campus presentation for the I-Squared competition. By now you should know what these presentations are about. Where we meet with participants respective of their zone and institutional level, here in the tertiary level, and we deliver a presentation to them about the competition, what it entails. We explain the judging criteria, its breakdown, and how we can allocate points. And in partnership with the Toastmaster organization, a Toastmaster will be delivering a presentation to you on how to do good presentation. Toastmaster is Mr. Nigel Scott. Just got here.
Hello. Couldn't find you all.
Right.
Good afternoon.
So in your hand you have these two outline for the competition. I'll just go through it, and if you have any questions, you stop me, ask, and I'll clarify. So the competition is intended to give you the chance to change the world using your imagination and creativity, and showcase young people's inclination towards innovation. It powers entrepreneurship, and we want to provide the foundation for this by giving you a forum for coming up with great, inspiring ideas that could revolutionize the Vincentian society. The competition runs in phases. Phase 1 was the launch of the competition, which took place on September 11th. Phase 2 was a public awareness campaign. This saw us going into schools and delivering presentations about the competition to gain their participation. We also did public drives. We handed out flyers, Facebook ads, and radio campaigns. Phase 3, which is what we're having now, is the good news presentations. The purpose of this is to thoroughly discuss with participants and to clear up any misconceptions and lingering questions that you may have. This year we're partnering with the Toastmasters organization, and they will be delivering presentations to the students in order to enhance their oral skills, because the competition will be done verbally, and so we want you to be as fluent as possible in that aspect. Phase 4 is the preliminary round judging. For the tertiary level, there will be no preliminary rounds, as there are not enough participants to go through preliminary rounds, so you have all advanced finals, which will take place on January 15th, which is the grand finale. Submissions are in the forms. There are two categories in the competition. One will be submission in the form of mobile applications, and the other will be in the form of ideas. For the mobile applications category, if there was a preliminary round, you would not have submitted the mobile app at this level. The mobile application is only submitted for the finals. So seeing that you're on finals, you have to come with your prepared mobile application to present to the judges, as they'll be using it to assess it and give their feedback. Any questions so far?
No, please.
Okay. How judging is done. When you come to present, you will have 7 minutes to present. To present to the judges the pitch for the mobile app. This will be like the idea behind the mobile app, basically. After that 7 minutes, you have 10 minutes. The judges will have 10 minutes to use your mobile app to assess it, to find all the nitty-gritty there is to know about the app and judge you accordingly. After that 10 minutes, there will be a 5-minute round of questioning from the judges. This is where they'll ask you questions to clarify whatever they come out in your presentation or what they think your mobile app lacks. That is why research is very important, as most of the time the judges will ask the questions based on research to see if the evidence you present is really factual. So hence why research is very important. And there will be a 5-panel of judges consisting of persons from the Ministry of Education, Ministry of Finance, ICT personnel, and the Chamber of Industry and Commerce. The rules to the competition. You should all already be familiar with them, but for those who aren't, schools are allowed to enter in groups consisting of no more than 2 and of no less than 2 and no more than 5. It is a requirement for groups to have a Twitter account, as it is through that medium will be issuing updates regarding the competition. So you have to keep constantly checking your Twitter accounts to see if you've updated the page about the competition. You have to have an official mentor who can be a teacher or someone you think is fit to assist you in the competition. You are not allowed to use mobile applications that are already in place in St Vincent. That's the innovation behind the competition. We want something new, something fresh, something that's never been done before, hence the word innovation. You're required to visit the public service department with your project ideas of mobile applications apply and conduct research. Like I said before, research is very important. With the submission of the mobile application, schools grant the NTRC a royalty-free, irrevocable license to reproduce, publish, distribute, and perform, display, and create derivative works from the submission in any manner. With this, the application is yours. You can do whatever you want with it, but if the NTRC decides to develop it further or map or use it in whatever aspect, you can come to us and demand money. Hence why we say we waive any right or any rights to compensation. The judge's decision is final, so when the judges decide, don't go bickering up with them, because they're very experienced in this sort of competitions. Okay. I'll go through the judging criteria for the
Question about the mentor. If the person that's mentoring you is not in the country, is that okay?
Yeah. Let me question if I go through the judging criteria. Yeah, I think that's silence. Okay. I assume you all are in the mobile applications category, with the exception. Okay. The mobile application preliminaries and the ideas preliminaries and finals are basically the same. What changes is for the finals. The finals is where the judges will actually have to use the mobile app. So there's more criterions available for points to be allocated on there. Okay, the ideas. Okay, the presentation, this is like the pitch for your mobile application. This is where you tell the judges or whoever is listening the idea behind your mobile application and the problem that you're trying to solve. The introduction and the tagline. You say what the idea is, and the tagline is just like a catchphrase. The tagline for the ice-cream competition is setting a platform for our young innovators. So your tagline has to be catchy, something that the judges can remember. The problem statement identified a government sector and the problem that the project is addressing. That speaks for itself. You have to target a government sector and identify a problem within that sector that you hope to solve through your mobile application or the idea. The procedures necessary for implementation of the idea and resources. This is basically your method of implementation and the apparatus or materials that will be needed to implement the mobile application or the idea. The explanation of how it will work once implemented. You basically explain how it will work, what is different, what is different about it to the current one that probably is in place, what is similar. The features, these are just the attributes or aspects of the mobile application, whether it allows you to register online for something or pay using a credit card or whatnot. Those will be features. The pros, cons, and limitations. These will be the advantages, the disadvantages, the inabilities of the app, and the lack of capabilities. The target market, like it says, the app has to be developed for a specific group, whether you develop it for the police, men and women, civilians, nurses, teachers, whomever, you have to clearly state that. Explanation of the intended results. This is what you hope will happen from the implementation of the mobile application, what you hope to achieve. And the overall quality of the presentation, that's just your fluency, the structuring, where you have a start, a body, a conclusion, your use of grammar, and it has to be clear and consistent. So that's 50 points for the presentation where you pitch the concept to the judges. The impact will be the effect or the influence that your mobile application will have on the targeted government sector. Let me go through this. Will it make a fundamental change in process? Will it make a significant change, basically? How will the government benefit financially? Whether they will save money, save resources. You have to give facts and they have to be accurate and precise. Because like I said, the 5-minute round of judges, this is where the judges will test your research skills and to see if you did any research, basically. How will the implementation of the idea sustain over the long run? This has to do with whether it can be maintained, whether it's not just a one-time thing, whether it has potential to be developed further. That is that. How does the solution relate to solving the problem? This criterion basically assesses whether the solution you propose it's for the problem. So you can come up with a solution to a problem that you didn't. That is not there. You understand that one?
Yeah.
Okay. What is the positive impact on the government sector? Identify that's just the positive effect that the implementation will have on the sector. How practical is the mobile app? Sorry. Is it likely to succeed or be effective through real circumstances? Can it be successfully implemented or is it feasible? Is implementation possible? That's basically it. Can the government sector really benefit from implementation? So you explain that and say what are the advantages of implementing the idea. And will it readily integrate into the existing system or sector? In most cases, they may already have one in place. So you will have to state whether yours could run alongside that one, or you may have to phase out that one and bring in yours or pilot them side by side. Yes, that's them.
So yeah, does implementation have to be possible? No.
That's a really good question. Okay, maybe if you say that there's a possibility for it to be that could arise, then you'll state that. I would think it will have to be implementation should be possible now. Any more questions? Can I move on? Okay, the third category is innovation, and that basically assesses whether the mobile application is something new, something you came up with off your own accord, and not something you saw and like, yeah, let me copy that. It has to be original, interactive. Interactivity has to do with whether the app will give like feedback, whether it allows you to. Whether it's interactive. I don't know if it's explain that one. And creativity, you have to spice it up, make it look nice and stuff. And this.
The creativity deals with the app itself or the idea?
It deals with both.
Okay, which one more?
It deals with both. Interactivity, that just deals with the app. But for creativity, it deals with both. And you get bonus for using helpful and meaningful visual aids like PowerPoint presentations, a skit, song, or what have you. And doing the presentation within the allocated 7 minutes, you get another bonus point. For the finals, like I said, the criteria is different. Section 2 on the mobile application finals, this is where the judges will be using the mobile application, and that will be followed by the questioning. The content is information on the app. So if you're doing something for VinLec, you have to have information related to VinLec, whether it's paying bills or registering online or what have you. The structure and navigation. This tells the user where they are, and it has to have the capability of the user can go somewhere else from where they are. Follow me? The visual, the visual design is the appearance of the mobile app. Well, it has a juicy homepage. It doesn't have to be cutting edge or trendy. It just has to be relevant. Good visual design is high quality, appropriate, relevant, like I said, for the audience, and the message is supportive. Functionality, this has to do with use of technology on the mobile application. Good functionality means that it works well, it loads quickly, it has links, it utilizes new technology, and it's relevant for the intended audience. It should be able to work cross-platforms, but if it doesn't, we will still take what we get. You understand what I mean by cross-platform?
I have a question. Let's say you don't do the coding yourself and somebody does it for you, or you don't do most of it.
Is the person your mentor?
No,
Is your partner?
a friend, a close friend. Let's say that.
Okay, well, we're not testing mobile app development. We're just testing the logistics behind it.
And
So
the idea.
we're just
And the idea.
yes, the logistics. So we're not necessarily testing how you develop the app, but what is on the app.
So that won't be cheating then
Sarah, help me here. Would that be cheating?
if you don't do it yourself.
I don't think so, so long as you provide a working prototype.
Yeah.
That is original.
Yeah, that you came up with yourself.
Is the person a student?
No.
Or no, professional.
Okay, well in that case, I do not.
No, not like
He
professional.
means professional as a professional.
Like a mentor.
Because I would think they should learn from the process as well.
Yes.
Rather than just go get somebody to do
Well,
something for
My
them.
point exactly.
So,
If the process is outside of our realm. And
We don't
they
want to
show
come
us
with
how-
anything that's so high tech. You know.
Yeah, simple.
So yeah, something, it doesn't have to, innovation doesn't have to be something that's really great. A simple thing can be innovative.
Simple like employment app, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Simple.
Any more questions?
No.
And no outsourcing. Okay, the overall experience that has to do. Basically, that will be the judge's impression of the app, whether it's nice to use, it has a smooth feel, whether the navigation is smooth, it flows well. Basically that. So that is it for the judging criteria of the high school competition finals. Do you have any questions? So you're clear on everything? Like I said, you have 7 minutes to present your pitch to the judges, which will follow by 10 minutes round of where the judges will use the app to assess it, and then the 5-minute round of questioning. And that will conclude my part of the presentation. At this time, I have Toastmaster Nigel Scott to deliver his presentation. Welcome here, he wants to talk.
thank you very much. Sorry I'm late, running from one meeting to the next this morning. But just to say, maybe in addition to your earlier question, is that when you come to having to answer the judges' questions, you should have some amount of familiarity with what you've done. So even if you get some assistance, be careful, because you don't want to be stumped by a question the judges ask, because, well, you really have no idea what the person did, sort of thing. So,
Yes, you're right.
okay. Well, thanks again. Let's congratulate Shanka Edwards for 2 things actually this afternoon, or 3, for being lovely. Yeah. For her wonderful presentation. And for being awarded a national scholarship. Is it Shanka? Yes. Okay, so 3 things at least to congratulate Shanka for. Well, let me say that I'm wearing one of my many hats this afternoon. I'm not your deputy director this afternoon, but as Shanka said, I'm a Toastmaster. A member of Toastmasters International, an organization that is 90 years old this year. First formed in 1924 in Santa Ana, California, by a gentleman named Ralph Smedley, Dr. Ralph C. Smedley, who was concerned about poor communication skills among the young men that came to the YMCA. So Toastmasters is all about communication and leadership skills, enhancing and developing communication and leadership skills. And so Toastmasters in St Vincent and Grenadines is pleased, proud to be part of the I-Squared competition this year. And their Toastmasters will be have delivered
Yes.
and we'll be delivering, this is the last one? Two more. We'll be delivering these presentations, good tips presentations for this I-Squared competition. I have only been given 2 hours to share with you, so I will try to be as quick as I can. Didn't she? Do you notice that? What a good group. Yes, no, actually I only have a few things I want to share with you, and I've not been given 2 hours, don't worry. How to help you make your 7-minute presentation better? Well, first of all, I want to say this, that your goal should be to make your 7-minute presentation so out of this world that the judges and persons in the audience are left thinking, wow, even if the app doesn't work. You should have such a powerful presentation that they understand exactly what you want to say. So let me say that right up front. You do all of the work now, you work on the app or whatever it is you're working on, but when you prepare for the presentation, which prepare you must, please remember that it must be with the goal of wowing your audience. They must feel that they are there with you. So let that be your goal. It is important then, if that is going to be your goal, that you ensure that your presentation has a good structure. Every good speech, essay, presentation, whatever, must have a clear opening, body, and conclusion. The opening must grab the audience's attention. So you can think of what creative way you're going to open your presentation. Some persons who can sing may decide to start their presentation with 2 lines of a song, a relevant song, relevant to your presentation. Persons who like poetry may decide to begin their presentation with a short verse from a poem. You don't want something that takes away from the presentation, but at the same time you want an opening that grabs the attention of your listening audience, and right away they are in with you. So the last thing you want is to start the presentation by saying, today the presentation is, well, you've lost your audience already. Are you with me? So you want an opening that grabs your audience. So let's say you are developing an app to dispense of school. Yes? So you go up for your presentation and you said, when is the last time you sat in a classroom and wished you could be home? Well, with my app, you can. Right away, you have people, you've caught their attention. You've asked a provocative question. Yes? So make sure your opening is interesting, exciting, and grabs the audience's attention. But a good opening without a solid body, and you're in trouble. So you have to follow up that great opening with a solid presentation in your body. Please make sure you plan your presentation. What will come first? What will come next? There must be structure to your presentation. Have some discussion on this. Determine if you're sharing the presentation, who is going to speak first, who is going to speak next. Make sure you have a clear outline, a clear script. If you're reading, that is sequential, that allows the listener to follow the process of what you are saying. You don't want in your body to be jumping all over the place. You don't want to say something that should be said at the beginning, at the end, or something that should be said near the end at the beginning. So if you're going to talk about what the app does, and where the idea came from. Let's say you start with where the idea came from for the app. You don't want to start by saying, well, this app can do X, Y, Z, and when you test it, you will see how the app really works because it is very good for that. But you know what? Let me tell you how we came up with this idea. Whoa. Okay, you're jumping all over the place. So make sure you have a clear, logical sequence that you want to follow. And then when it comes to your conclusion, please make sure your audience knows that you have concluded. And it doesn't always have to be because you say in conclusion. But when you're finished, your audience should know that you are finished. And there should be no, huh? Have you ever listened to a person speaking and they're finished and you're wondering, that's it, done? You know, you're left hanging and you're feeling that there's something missing. You know, this can't be finished. Maybe the person forgot the last page. Please make sure that when you conclude, the conclusion is clear. What many persons like to do with the conclusion is to sum up in 30 seconds or less their main points, which refreshes the audience's memory and ensures that they leave something with the audience, with the judges in this case, or the general audience. So, make sure that you have a nice, good opening that grabs the audience's attention, a solid body of presentation, and a good conclusion that leaves the audience wanting more. Not more because they feel you're not finished, but more because it was so good, they wish you could keep on speaking for another half an hour. Okay? So, work on your structure for your presentation. Then, vocal variety. Vocal variety has to do with how you speak and the variations in your voice. So you don't want to go and start content is the information provided on the mobile side, and you run for the entire presentation. At the same time, you don't want to have a presentation that goes along like this for the entire presentation, and people wonder when you are going to stop because your voice sounds so monotonous and boring. And at the same time, or you don't want to be so loud, come here! So you want to get good vocal variety. Know when you need to speak soft, and you know you can speak softly and grab people's attention. There are times when you might need to say something softly, not so softly that the person in the back of the room can't hear. I'm sure there'll be microphones. But there are times when you might need to just be soft. And there are times when you need to make impact with what you are saying and you emphasize a point. So work on the vocal variety. Make sure it is not just a monotone that drags on and on and on and on. And if you do, there's some persons who just have monotonous sounding voices. So if you have such a person in your group, make sure that that person is involved in some other aspect of the presentation. Yes? In good faith, you just say to the person, you know what? I don't think your voice is presentation type voice, so you're going to work on making sure everything is set up, making sure if we have a PowerPoint presentation that runs smoothly, whatever it is you're presenting, and we let somebody else do the talking. Okay? So work on your vocal variety. Next, body language. You know your whole body speaks, right? There's good body language and there's bad body language. There are times when your hands have to speak for you. There are times when your head has to speak for you and your eyes. And there are times when you have to be careful that they don't do too much speaking. So for example, look out for the nervous twitches. Have you ever seen people presenting and their hands going and their paper going and they're talking, but you know, and they are doing a presentation and they are, or their foot swaying, or they cross their legs and they keep crossing their legs, or they're kicking, or they're scratching themselves. That's bad body language. You want some good body language. You want your hands to speak for you, but not too much. Because you don't want your hands going all over the place like you're a crazy man, okay? Your hands can speak for you, and they can speak volumes, but you want them to speak well. So if you want to make a point with your hands, by all means make a point. Make a gesture. But don't just have your hands going all over the place. Try to avoid putting your hands in your pocket. Some people do that because they're too afraid that their hands are going to do things that they don't want them to do. The danger with that is that you can come over as if you are a little too relaxed. And then people are not sure, he looks as if he's ready for the beach. He's not really in for a competition. So avoid the hands in the pocket. And if you do happen to put your hands in your pocket every now and again, please make sure you don't have keys and other things in your pocket that jingle. Because then you're going to, okay? And you really don't want that happening during your presentation. One of the other things to be careful of when you're making a presentation is the pen in the hand. All right? I don't have a pen in my pocket right now, but may I borrow your pen, please? No, lend me this one, and I'll tell you why. This one. You see these pens that go click? It's a nervous habit that some people have. They're making a presentation, and the pen is going click, click, click in their hands. And they're not even aware of it. But the pen is going click, click, and the audience is wondering, why doesn't she stop clicking the pen? They're not hearing you, you've lost them. So negative body language like that, you have to be careful of. If you don't need a pen in your hand for the presentation, don't have a pen in your hand. Because what's going to happen is that you're going to end up doing things with it that you're not supposed to be doing with it. And it's going from one hand to the next, and then it falls, and you have to stop and pick it up. So avoid the pen in the hand. Don't hold anything in your hand that you're not supposed to have in your hand, that you don't need to have in your hand. Okay? Now, while I'm talking about body language, stacks of paper. You're doing a 7-minute presentation. So try to avoid having a whole stack of paper in your hand and okay, where am I? Yes, okay. Try to avoid that. One of the things you can do, I don't know if you'll be doing PowerPoint presentations. If you are going to be doing a PowerPoint presentation, what you can do is print the slides or print out your notes and cut them out on cue card sized paper, okay? That way you can have a stack of cue cards in your hand that are barely visible to the audience, and certainly you don't have a whole batch of paper. And if you're going to use cue cards, please number them. The worst thing that happens is that you get up there with 10 cue cards in your hand, you didn't number them, they fall, and then you pick them up, and in a scramble, you can't remember what comes next because you're now all nervous. So do try to number the cue cards. If you are going to use sheets of paper as well, number them, but try to keep it down to one sheet so you're not scrambling with different sheets of paper. Okay, because that can affect how your presentation comes over in terms of your whole body language as well. One of the other things I want to draw to your attention are the pause fillers and the crutches to avoid. Do you know what I mean by pause fillers and crutches?
Like those arms.
Yeah, the arms and the so, well, all of those conjunctions that indicate that you are struggling for what to say next. You do have to try to avoid those. It is extremely annoying to me, and I'm sure to you as well, to listen to somebody who you hear a lot of, is that annoying? You begin to wonder, does he or she really know what he or she is talking about? So when you prepare your presentation, which is one of my other points that is going to link to this, it is important that you rehearse, and when you finish rehearsing, rehearse again. That would help you deal with the ahs and the ahs, the pause fillers, the crutches, the conjunctions that don't need to be there. Well, you have to avoid those. You lose your audience, your presentation does not come over as powerful as it should be, so do be very careful with that. So I've talked about pause fillers and crutches, and I've also talked about the importance of rehearsing. Okay, make sure you don't leave the presentation for the very last day preparing it. You know, you can get so caught up doing the app or whatever it is you're doing that you remember the last day, we need to get the presentation done. And then suddenly somebody scrambled something together. You have a really lovely app, but your presentation is lousy. How do you think you would feel if you were told that there's a certain restaurant in Villa that serves the best burger and fries in St Vincent and the Grenadines? And so you turn up to enjoy this burger and fries, and they bring you the burger and fries on a dirty plate. You just lost your appetite, no? Yeah. Plate dirty, you walk in and the whole place is dirty actually. You would never believe that this is the best burger and fries in St Vincent and the Grenadines. So you want an excellent app backed up by a wonderful presentation. So rehearse. Shanka mentioned a while ago, another R. Research. Don't go to the presentation without having all of the information that you need to have. Take the time and do the research. If you have done an app that would help things work better at the police station, your neighborhood police station, please make sure you do some research into the police service. Yes? Make sure this is something that would actually work. Make sure this is something that fits in with how they normally do things, and this is a different way of doing it. Don't come up with something that is totally off of this planet. So research. When it comes to your presentation as well, you only have 7 minutes. So you need to get to the point quickly. Be accurate, be concise, and avoid unnecessary jargon. Don't include jokes that have no relevance to your presentation, just to get the audience to laugh. A well-placed joke can be good, yes? But you have 7 minutes, so don't have a 5-minute joke or a 2-minute joke, okay? A joke that lasts 15 seconds, that is to the point, that is relevant, can be well-placed. But avoid long stories that are not relevant, jargon, unnecessary phrases. Try to be accurate, try to be concise. Don't overload your slides. While I'm talking on this one, do not overload your slides, your PowerPoint slides. If you're using PowerPoint slides, do not overload them with too much words, because you're going to have your audience struggling to read the 10 lines you have written on your PowerPoint slide. And please, if you're going to use PowerPoint slides, do respect your audience's ability to read. So if you have 2 lines on your PowerPoint slide, don't simply read everything on the slide for your presentation. Are you with me? What should be on your slide should be the main point, and you expand on it as you speak. Don't put everything in the presentation. Don't try to do it on the PowerPoint slide, because what will end up happening is that your audience is trying to read and you're simply reading everything that is on the slide. That's not good. So keep the key things, the main points on the slide, and you add the substance to it. At the same time, let me say this, keep the slides clean. By that I mean, you can also overclutter them with the colors that you use. So choose an appropriate color scheme that doesn't clash, that is not conflicting, that doesn't have people wondering if it's a disco. Of course, it could be a disco you're doing the app for, but try to keep your slides clean and clear, that persons can see clearly what it is on the slide. If you're using photographs, try to make sure they are good quality. And please, spell check, spell check, spell check. There's nothing worse than sitting looking at a PowerPoint presentation and seeing that instead of NTRC, you have NRCT. Alright? Little things like that. Have somebody else come in and spell check for you, because sometimes when you are so close to something, you don't see the little spelling errors. So just have somebody else who will do the spell check for you. Alright? Give it to mommy, daddy, big brother, somebody else, your mentor, and have them do a quick spell check for you. Because the spell check on your computer is not going to pick up everything. If it is supposed to be THEIR and you have THERE, it's not going to pick it up as an error necessarily, right? During the presentation, and I'm nearly done, if you stumble, please don't stop and apologize. Remember, the only person in the room that knows what your presentation should be are the other members of your group, and maybe your mentor and anybody else that you would have shared with. The majority of the persons don't know what your presentation is going to be. So there's no need for you to stop and say, sorry, that's not what I meant. Oh yes, this is what I meant to say. Okay, don't do that, all right? If you make an error, so for example, suppose instead of saying good tips for presentation, you said good presentation for tips. Right? And you realize you made the error. Just correct yourself and go on. Just say, good tips for presentation. So you said, good presentation for tips. Good tips for presentation. We shall take a look now at these 9 tips. Rather than, good presentation for tips. Oh, sorry. Good tips for presentation. Because sometimes people don't realize you made a mistake, you know. Until you stop, cover your mouth, apologize, and then correct it. That is when they, oh, he was. Okay? So you realize you make an error, just correct it and go on. There's no need to pause and apologize and say, sorry, you know, because persons in the room don't know half the time that you made a mistake. And finally, and I hope this is finally, have fun. Make your presentation a fun one while being serious, and make sure you enjoy giving the presentation. There's nothing worse than you suffering through a presentation, because if you're suffering giving the presentation, imagine your audience will be suffering too. So do enjoy working on your projects and enjoy giving your presentation, and your joy must shine through, so that the judges and the audience can see your joy and how much fun you had giving the presentation and working on this. That fun that you have should come out when you give your presentation. Okay? Any questions?
You spoke about the joy, but what if you want the audience, what if you want to present in a serious manner?
Okay. You can present in a serious manner, but still enjoy doing it. What you don't want is to have a face that looks pained. It looks as if you are constipated and have been constipated for the last 10 days. And your face is all, you know, and you're sad and you're making this presentation. So there's one thing to be serious, and you can make a serious presentation. Because what you're talking about is a serious app. But at the same time, it can be sufficiently animated that people can see that you are enjoying this, you know, rather than having a peer expectation. You know, like they made you do it. And you really don't want to be up here. I wish I could just hurry up and sit down. You know? So I take your point, but at the same time, don't have an expression that is pain, that is sorrowful, that is sad, you know, as if the dog just died. Okay? Even though it may be a serious app and it's a serious problem you are addressing, you can still show that you enjoy working on this because it's going to make a difference, you know, and you enjoy presenting it. Any other questions? Really?
One more. You said you could use flashcards. What about if someone was reading directly from the flashcards?
What you want to do is, it's only 7 minutes, and if you rehearse adequately, even though you have the flashcards, it may be hopefully just to remind you. Because again, you don't want to overload your flashcards. So your flashcards should really be what the key points are. Try to use point form rather than just writing 50 lines crammed in, because then you're going to end up trying to read everything. Okay? If you are unable to memorize and to learn the material for the presentation, at least learn the beginning and the conclusion. Learn the opening paragraph and the concluding paragraph, if you don't learn anything else. Do you know why? It's difficult for you to convince persons that what you're doing is something that you worked on and is meaningful and you believe in it if you're reading every single thing. So get a good opening, learn it. Get a powerful conclusion, learn it. Because you know what, at the end of the day, you know what people are going to remember? It's your conclusion. So make sure it is nice and powerful. Even though they forget half of what you said in between there, make sure you have a nice, powerful conclusion. So learn them. So you don't want to go up there to begin your presentation and begin reading from day one. If you're using, let me just add this, if you're using PowerPoint slides, try to, I don't know what, I guess NTRC would be responsible for the positioning, but try to arrive early and assess where the projector is and where the laptop will be, etc. And what you try to do is position yourself so that you can see the laptop. So always try to position the laptop in front of you, wherever the lectern is or wherever you're presenting from. And if that's a screen, try to avoid being between the audience and your screen. So try to be at one side and try to be able to see the laptop screen. If you can't see the laptop screen, then make sure you have the slides in front of you. Because what you want to avoid doing is simply looking with the audience at the screen. Are you with me? You want to be able to make eye contact with the audience and the judges. When they can see your eyes and you can look them into their eyes, powerful. So when you make your opening, you shouldn't be looking at any screen, you shouldn't be looking at any notes. You should be up there and saying, this app that you are about to see will change your life forever. Now, having said that, everybody wants to know, what's this? Because who doesn't want their life changed? Now, consider that versus this app that you're about to see can change your life forever. Which one is more convincing?
First one.
If it's going to change my life, why are you reading it to me? Don't you know what you're about to say? So learn your opening and learn your conclusion if you can learn nothing else, okay? Any other questions? No? Okay, well, I'm here every day, every week, on the compound. You can come and find me. Yes?
We can come and show you our presentation and you can give us your review of it.
No!
What?
You can read it.
Nice one. Yeah, you can. Alright, I had you go in there. Alright, well, it has been a blast. If there are no other questions, now is a good time for me to return control to Shanka.
Okay, I just want to thank Ms. Toastmaster Scott for that insightful presentation. Give her a round of applause. And I know that me personally learned a lot from his presentation, and I hope you did too, and incorporate it in your presentations for the finals. I hope to see you there. We hope to have wonderful apps that can be real fresh, that can make a difference in St Vincent and the Grenadines. So once again, thank you for being here, and we hope to see you at finals.
Thank you.